Good afternoon. In the meantime, I would like to make this part one of a series on future grace. We're going to begin in an odd place perhaps, and that was about 12 years ago when I was heavily recruited to be an Episcopal church planter. That's in Columbia, Missouri. Now that's a position where you start a brand new church from scratch. The 3-day interview process with the bishop and canon and other people included several sessions of interviews and testing with an industrial psychologist. The diocese was applying some standard industrial testing methods to determine if their candidates had the right mix of entrepreneurial characteristics. It may not be a surprise to you, but I maxed out that part of the interview. I was the only candidate they had talked to who had started and run 2 software companies that were sold to much larger publicly traded firms. In the end, I declined the job. I cannot give a specific reason why. It's only that Joan and I prayed about it and the Spirit moved us, just not to Columbia, Missouri. Postlude to this story. The diocese had done absolutely everything right in this situation. They had purchased the land on a corner in a growing section of town. Columbia, Missouri has tripled in size since Joan and I met there in 1978. They had stashed away $1 million in the bank to cover promotional and startup costs. They did hire a young priest, but after 4 years, the church plant failed to take root. Lesson in this story is that startups are risky, uncertain, and difficult ventures. But one of the dirty little secrets of this pandemic is that for church leaders, and I suspect for many business leaders, there is more work to do now during the pandemic than before. It's true, church leaders cannot do very much visiting with parishioners, but I am spending a lot more time in prayer and study, trying to figure out where we go next. And what has become abundantly clear to me is that in the protracted, quote, return to normal period at the end of the pandemic, we cannot return to the same as before. As the title of Thomas Wolfe's posthumous novel puts it, you can't go home again. You can't go home again because during the journey away from home, home changes. It is human nature to desire quiescence, stability, and reliability. For Episcopalians, such homeostasis is ingrained at birth. But the future is likely to be much more of a Wild West than a 1950s Leave It to Beaver show. What do you think the role of church will be in a society of lawlessness, bawdiness, and vulgarity? One of the major assets of Grace Episcopal Church in Muskogee has over a new church startup is that we have a beautiful, old, well-maintained property. And aside from a few projects here and there, we have a great looking facility. The fact that the church is old and has been here 125 years is also a liability. You'd be surprised how often I have encountered lifelong Muskogee residents who, with a deer in the headlights look on their face, say, Grace Episcopal, now where is that church? The church, and especially the surrounding property, still do not stand out or distinguish itself from the surrounding community. Completing Margaret's Garden at 6th and Broadway will help put us on the map, but we need to seriously pay attention to exterior lighting and signage. The future for Grace Episcopal in this community will combine elements of a new church plant with the best of our assets to date. While we are in this interregnum period, we need to keep improving and refining our ministries, our people, and our physical plant. And only then will we be able to press the restart button.